Heartwarming story, millionaire discovers hidden danger when daughter falls ill after stepmom's holiday. Jack Thompson, a self-made millionaire in Willow Creek, could not imagine the dark clouds brewing on the horizon. Life had been rewarding, filled with family dinners and the laughter of his 10-year-old daughter, Emma, but after her recent trip to her stepmother's South lavish estate, things took a terrifying turn. Emma returned with a fever that wouldn't break, her bright smile replaced by a worrying pallor. Every parent's nightmare began like a faint whisper, but it quickly escalated into screams of despair echoing through the otherwise quiet suburbs. As Jack rushed her to the hospital, the fluorescent lights flickered ominously overhead. The sterile rooms felt like a foreign land, worlds away from his shimmering office full of success. Panic coursed through Jack's veins while he paced the floor, guilt gnawing at his heart for missing family time. What did I do wrong? He whispered to himself as doctors scribbled down notes, the weight of their solemn expressions heavy in the air. Hours turned into days, and the pediatric ward felt like a prison. Jack watched each test result come back with a tightening chest and trembling hands. As medical bills piled up, he felt a wave of embarrassment wash over him. How can this be happening? He thought of the whispers from neighbors, revealing their judgments on his choices as a father. The judicious parent, the millionaire, and yet the father who seemed absent, out of touch with the community he once belonged to. That distance he had thought was purposeful felt more like a prison now, trapping him in loneliness. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Just when Jack felt like he was teetering on the edge, he met Tom, a local veteran whose tenacity sparked something deep within him. Tom's struggles made Jack see his own life's battles in a new light. Together, they exchanged stories of perseverance over lukewarm coffee in a cramped hospital cafeteria, sharing the burden of unexpected challenges. Fundraisers for healthcare access, food drives, forgotten promises, they opened each other's eyes to a community woven tightly by collective pain. Suddenly, Jack's battle wasn't just for Emma's life but for the very dignity of families who lived paycheck to paycheck. As hope turned to dread, Jack uncovered a shocking truth about Emma's illness, one that would unravel the fragile threads of his understanding of success. The diagnosis was terminal, and time seemed to slip through his fingers like sand. His insatiable quest for wealth had left him with more money than he knew what to do with, yet hadn't he prepared him for this? Did he truly choose riches over love? Voices of the past echoed back to him, neighborhood barbecues, laughter among friends, walls adorned with photographs of simpler moments. Staring into his daughter's pale face, Jack knew he had a choice to make. In this heart-wrenching moment, he faced himself for who he truly was, a man wrestling with the ghosts of his past. The path ahead would define not only what kind of father he would be but what legacy he wished to impart in a world where the measure of success is often blurred. Would he reclaim his roots and fight for his daughter and his community, or choose the hollow illusion of wealth? The news hit Jack like a freight train, leaving him gasping for breath in an austere hospital room. Emma's diagnosis echoed in his mind, morphing into a haunting mantra: terminal. He felt the world constrict around him, each heartbeat drumming out a percussive reminder of time slipping away. Anguish clawed at his insides as he held Emma's small hand, its warmth contrasting violently with the chill of despair clouding his heart. Jack sat close, taking in every detail: the small fray on her blanket, the plush teddy bear clutched tightly under her arm, her sun-kissed hair dulled to an uncharacteristic beige. The room reeked of antiseptic and fear, and he felt himself drowning in a tide of regret. Each passing hour felt like a punishment, each tick of the clock a reminder of decisions that had led him here. Why had he placed so much value on success over the simplicity of being present? The chirping of the machines beside her mirrored his rising anxiety, and he knew he had to act, not just as a father, but as a man dedicated to changing the course of every moment in their lives. "I can't do this alone," he murmured, barely finding the courage to voice his thoughts. With a newfound determination, Jack approached Tom again. He needed to gather strength from that camaraderie sparked in the cafe, the sense of a purpose beyond just himself. Tom's story was woven with threads of struggle and triumph, a testament to resilience that inspired Jack. They met after hours, sneaking away from the sterile confines of the hospital. Sitting in the small park across from the hospital, the sun cast late afternoon shadows that seemed to reflect Jack's uncertain path. "Tom, I need your help. Emma is sick and I can't bear the weight of this alone," Jack confessed, heart racing again, this time with hope mixed with fear. Tom regarded him silently for a moment, his presence a solid rock in Jack's crumbling world. "You have to rally the community. They'll help you fight for her," he said, his voice steady. Jack took a deep breath. "But what if they see me as just a wealthy outsider? What if I'm too late?" He felt lost, uncertain if the community he had distanced himself from would even care. "Trust me," Tom replied, intensity in his gaze. "People want to help, especially when they see someone fighting for a cause. You may just find that they want your success story, too." With that seed planted in his heart, Jack couldn't get the idea out of his mind. The thought of uniting the community was more than just a desperate act. Perhaps it could lead to a deeper understanding and connection among them all. Just like that, he found a way to fight not just for Emma's health but for his own redemption. Days passed in a blur as he gathered resources, reached out to local businesses, and organized a fundraiser. Each conversation fueled his resolve, breathing life back into his fractured relationships. He hoped that as people gathered, they would also share their stories, lifting each other in a genuine community effort. But with each meeting and prayer, Jack felt remnants of skepticism gnawing at him. What if they turned against him? What if the past remained an unbreakable chain dragging him down? He held his breath as he prepared for the event. The gymnasium was decked in banners and lights, but anxiety festered in his chest like a storm. Would this be enough to save Emma? Would redemption be waiting for him at the end of this road? As he stepped to the microphone, surrounded by faces both familiar and unfamiliar, Jack knew he was at the precipice of a decision that would redefine everything: his future, his daughters, and their community's collective spirit. Would he capture the hearts of those eager to help, or would darkness overshadow his intentions? Jack's heart thundered in his chest as he stood there, the microphone feeling like a lifeline in a sea of uncertainty. He looked out over the crowd, searching for familiar faces, finding comfort in the warm smiles of neighbors and the tangled energy of shared hope. All around him, people had come together. They were there for Emma, but was he enough? "Thank you all for being here," he started, his voice trembling at first. "I won't keep you long. You know why we're here." He paused, glancing at a hastily placed photo of Emma on the table beside him, a snapshot of her beaming face, carefree and untroubled, the essence of innocence that tugged fiercely at his heart. "Emma is my daughter," he continued, feeling the weight of every word. "She's fighting a battle none of us should have to face, and I'm asking you to join us in that fight. I've made mistakes. I let work come before family, and it's cost me dearly. But losing her, I can't bear the thought." A murmur rippled through the crowd, and Jack's eyes glistened. This was at the moment where he stripped away his facade, exposing himself to the community whose respect he had once taken for granted. "Tonight, we're raising money not just for medical bills but for hope. For a future with Emma. I want her to grow up knowing love and laughter, not just hospital walls and harsh treatments." His words hung in the air, electric with emotion. Faces in the crowd shifted, some nodded, others wiped away tears. Jack's vulnerability seemed to dissolve barriers. What once felt like a chasm between them began to narrow just a bit. Suddenly, a young woman from the back stepped forward. "Jack, I remember Emma. She used to help me at the bake sale every year. She's an incredible girl. We can do this." Her voice was strong, and others began to echo their agreement. In that moment, Jack's heart swelled. Their community was rising, galvanizing around a cause centered not just on illness, but on hope, redemption, and love. Jack felt something shift inside him. He wasn't alone anymore. As the night progressed, people hovered around tables filled with baked goods and handmade crafts. Local businesses had generously provided their offerings for the fundraiser. Laughter mixed with the faint sound of quiet conversations filled the air. They were sharing stories, memories of Emma, bonding through shared experiences. It felt like a collective prayer, woven into an unbreakable fabric of support. Hours flew by, and Jack could hardly believe how much they had raised. Every donation seemed to build a bridge towards healing, not just for Emma but for him too. The past didn't seem quite so daunting with each smile and nod of encouragement. Maybe he could rebuild what he once lost, but when he spotted a tall figure in a corner, faceless among the warmth, dread twisted in his gut. It was a man he recognized all too well, Jake, his former business partner. A shadow passed over Jack's sense of hope as Jake's knowing gaze locked onto him. "What brings you here?" Jack almost stammered, anxiety creeping back like an unwelcome guest. "It's about Emma," Jake replied slowly, eyeing him critically. "I've heard things, and I have a proposal that might change everything." So there, in that moment of newfound hope, came a twist that threatened to crack the fragile bond Jack had just forged with the community. What could Jake want? And what did he know that could shake Jack's resolve? Jack felt the warmth of the room recede, replaced by the cold weight of Jake's gaze. The bustling crowd faded into a blur as a single bead of sweat trickled down his temple. "What do you mean, a proposal?" He forced the words out, hoping his voice wouldn't betray the tremor in his chest. Jake stepped forward, pushing his hands into his pockets. The easy charm Jack once admired was gone, replaced by a steely expression. "I know about the fundraiser. I know about the costs. It's a big emotional lift for you, but you need to consider alternatives." "Alternatives?" Jack repeated slowly, a chill creeping through him. "What are you suggesting?" "You and I, we could partner up again. I have connections, resources. I can get her the best treatment. A lot more than this small-town fundraiser could ever manage." Jack clenched his jaw. Memories of their past partnership, once thriving and enjoyable, flooded through his mind. But so did the memories of betrayal, the broken trust that had left him stranded. The thought of turning back to someone he had once counted as family felt like a bitter pill to swallow. "Why would you care?" Jack shot back, his voice sharper than he intended. "You walked away when things got tough." Jake lifted his hand in defense. "I made mistakes too. But I don't want her to suffer because of it. Think about it, Jack. You need money, and you need results. You're fighting against the clock, and these small-town donations won't cut it." Jack could feel the crowd around him, each face a reminder of their support and love. They had gathered to uplift Emma, a community uniting for the greater good. But could he push that aside for a partnership laced with his past? "This is about more than just money. This is about love." "My family," he said, his heart pounding faster. "I get it," Jake replied evenly. "But love doesn't always pay the bills, especially with a fight like this. I'm offering you a way to turn that love into real help." "What's wrong with that?" For a brief moment, vulnerability washed over Jack, the fear of losing Emma gripped him. He had never felt so trapped between wanting to keep his integrity and wanting to do anything it took to save his daughter. He felt a hand on his shoulder, and he turned to see Karen, a neighbor who had always offered a kind smile. "We're here for you, Jack," she said quietly, her eyes searching his. "You don't have to do this alone. We'll find a way." The room felt alive again, the murmurs of support rising around him like a chorus. But Jake's voice cut through, clear and steady. "You think they can do what I can? You're standing at a fork in the road, Jack. Choose wisely." The pressure in Jack's chest intensified. He could feel the weight of the decision pressing down on him. Every gaze felt like a question, every whisper a reminder that everything was on the line. Jack swallowed hard, glancing back at Emma's photo on the table, her innocence staring back at him. The stakes felt impossibly high as he battled between his heart and his past. What do I have to lose? He whispered almost to himself, unsteady suddenly in his thoughts. Jake smirked, sensing victory in Jack's uncertainty. That's the spirit. As uncertainty tangled with hope, Jack couldn't shake the feeling that the next few moments could alter the course of everything. Was this the inflection point his family needed, or the moment he lost everything he valued? What choice would he make? And could redemption truly come from the unlikeliest of places? Jack's heart was racing, each pulse matching the weight of the crowd's mixed expressions. His community, loyal and unwavering, watched him, but their eyes were filled with hope and concern. He felt their energy, a soft buzz of encouragement, yet, Jake's proposition loomed like a storm cloud over him. What do I have to lose? Those words echoed in his mind. He stared at Emma's picture again, her bright smile giving him a fleeting sense of clarity amid the chaos. It was all about her, wasn't it? Her life, her laughter, her future. But could he really sacrifice his principles, his beliefs, to save her? Jake continued, his voice smooth like a salesman's pitch. I know you're afraid, Jack. You think I'm here to hurt you, but I'm not. I want to help Emma. I couldn't turn my back again. Not when the stakes are this high. Help. Or control. You've always wanted something, Jack shot back, feeling anger bubbling up, pushing against the walls he'd built to keep the hurt out. Control. This isn't about me, Jake fired back sharply, his calm facade cracking, revealing the desperation behind his proposal. This is about Emma. You keep fighting the past, but just think, what if I could change your mind about us? What if we could make things right? It was then Jack felt the world around him narrow down, the crowd fading to mere sounds in the background as he wrestled with his thoughts. He had blood on his hands, he knew that. Working with Jake could mean he would drown deeper in the weight of his past hurt, betrayal, loss. But if there was a chance to save Emma, Jack, Karen's voice broke through. You need to trust your gut. We all want to help, but it's your choice to make. You know what keeps you up at night. Don't forget that. He turned to her, her gaze steady and sincere. Her kind heart echoed through him, but doubt remained. Could he really go back to a partnership that felt like stepping into a minefield? Or was it the only lifeline he had? Jack. Jake's tone shifted, frustration flaring in his chest, palpable in the air. You're running out of time. Waiting for something better is a gamble neither of us can afford. Look at the reality here. The pressure intensified. Jack closed his eyes for a moment, blocking out the world. He could picture Emma's laughter, the way she loved to dance in the kitchen, the light in her hopeful eyes. What if he said yes? But the memories flooded in: betrayal, deceit, screaming arguments, broken dreams. Could he heal the rift between them? Could they forge a path to redemption together? Standing there, the air thick with tension, he hesitated. What if he stepped off this ledge? Would it be the saving grace his daughter needed, or just plunging into the depths of past failures? Jack, please, Jake's voice softened now, almost desperate. Give me a chance. I promise I will do right by her. You just have to trust me, for once. As the words hung heavily between them, Jack's mind raced, weighing the price of their history against the possibility of Emma's future. All at once, the decision swelled in him, a wave of courage amid uncertainty. Okay, I'll think about it, Jack finally said, wrestling with the turmoil inside him. But even as he spoke, a flicker of doubt flickered within. The air shifted, change looming like a shadow, but Jack had no idea how deep the waters would run if he took that leap of faith. In that moment, as he turned back to the crowd, Jack wondered if he had just made a deal with the devil or if he could yet find a light in the dark. What awaited him next? The choice he was about to make could shatter everything he held dear or mend the fabric of his family in ways he never expected. Jack took a slow, deep breath as he faced the crowd again, their stares weighing heavily on him. He could see the concern etched into their faces, the lines of worry deepening as they awaited his next move. They knew how tangled things had become. The air felt electric, charged with something that felt like hope mingled with dread. That he pushed through the crowd and found a quiet corner, where he could think without the pressure of their eyes. In that moment, Jack's mind was a battlefield. He could picture Emma's face, bright and full of life, contrasting sharply with the fear that had crept into every corner since she fell ill. He thought about how Jake's proposal could change everything, but at what cost? Jack! Karen's voice called after him, and he turned to find her approaching with a troubled expression. Are you okay? He shrugged, the weight of the world crashing down on him. I don't know, Karen. I don't want to mess this up. Emma deserves more than what I've been able to give her. Karen stepped closer, her sincerity wrapping around him like a warm blanket. No parent wants to feel like they failed. But you're not alone in this. If you need to set aside your pride to work with Jake. That's the part one can't swallow. His chest felt tight. He's hurt me, Karen. He's hurt us. How can I even consider letting him back in? Because sometimes we have to be bigger than our past mistakes. For her, Jack. Her eyes urged him to see the truth. What if this is your chance to set things right? The truth of her words echoed in his mind. Could this be his moment of redemption? The more he thought about it, the more the thought of losing Emma flipped his stomach. But before he could reply, his phone buzzed in his pocket. He pulled it out and saw a message from his sister. Just heard about Emma. Let us talk. His heart sank. Losing contact with family had been a painful part of his life, especially since the chaos took over. He pushed everyone away, thinking he could handle it on his own. Is everything okay? Karen asked softly, breaking him from his spiral of thoughts. I don't know, he mumbled, staring at the screen. Family, they matter, she said gently. Maybe it's time to reach out. He glanced back at the crowd, at the faces of the people he had long thought were a burden rather than a support system. Perhaps she was right. Maybe reaching out to his sister was the first step toward taking control of something that had spiraled out of his hand, but even as hope flickered like a candle fighting the dark, Jack couldn't shake the nagging doubts. Was he more afraid of what he had to do than stepping back into the chaos Jake represented? Asking for help could feel like admitting defeat, which was a battle he wasn't ready to fight. Thank you, Karen, he finally whispered. I think I need time to figure all of this out. Just don't take too long. She looked him straight in the eye, determination etched on her face. Emma needs her dad. That simple reminder squeezed his heart. Lost in his conflicted thoughts, he took one last look at the messages. Could this lead to clearing the mess he had created? As he walked out of the crowd and into the quiet of the cool evening air, Jack knew he had to move fast. The decision to contact his sister loomed. But deep down, lurking like the shadows of a long-forgotten memory, he asked himself, what if reaching out only opened more wounds? Conflicted, he still felt the urgency pulling him to make choices. What awaited him in the fragile space of family ties? Would he finally take a stand for Emma, or risk everything yet again? Jack stood on the edge of the bustling street, the noise fading into a low hum as he tried to gather his thoughts. The crisp evening air brushed against his face, a reminder of the world outside his spiraling emotions. The message from his sister loomed in his mind, stirring memories he had buried deeply. With each heartbeat, the past pushed against him, whispering doubts and regrets that he couldn't avoid her forever. Part of him longed for that connection, the familiarity of family. He remembered laughter shared over old memories and holidays that seemed so distant now, tainted by the chaos of recent years. But the fear of facing her again, of the anger and disappointment he might see in her eyes, made his chest tight. What if she blamed him for everything? For Emma's illness? For pushing everyone away? Just do it, he muttered to himself, pulling his phone from his pocket again. He hesitated, finger hovering over the screen, as if it were a loaded weapon. Then a wave of determination surged within him. If he truly wanted to be a better dad, to give Emma the future she deserved, he had to start somewhere. With a deep breath, he typed a quick reply. Sure, let us talk. When? He hit send, heart drumming in his ears. The response came swiftly. How about tomorrow at noon? I can come by. Jack nodded, though he knew no one could see him. Tomorrow. He could prepare himself. Pulling himself back from the edge of anxiety, he decided to head home. As he walked, he practiced what he would say. How to explain the tangled web of choices he had made. How to somehow convey that it wasn't just him. The world had turned upside down, and he was just trying to survive it all. As darkness fell, he found himself glancing at the small park where Emma used to play. The swings swayed gently in the breeze, emptiness echoed around him. Each creak felt like a reminder of happy times now layered with worry. With a pang in his heart, he thought about how she could be there, laughing and playing if this had all gone differently. When Jack finally entered his home, the silence was palpable. He flicked on the lights, and the familiar sight of Emma's drawings on the fridge tugged at another deep-rooted fear. Would he be able to fix everything? Could reaching out to his sister be the start of potential healing, or was it a leap into more chaos? He felt his phone buzz again. Another message, this time from Karen. Hope you're okay. Remember, you don't have to do this alone. Her words were like a lifeline, and though uncertainty still loomed, they resonated with clarity. He wasn't just fighting for himself anymore. He was fighting for Emma. And somehow, he got the feeling there was more at stake than he realized. That night, sleep came uneasily. Images of Emma flickered through his mind, paired with concerns about tomorrow. Jack wrapped himself in the blanket of hope Karen had offered, but fear crept in, threatening to choke it out. As dawn crept into the sky, he knew it was time. He never truly faced his past, but now he needed to confront it head-on. Would he find support in those he had pushed away? The clock ticked relentlessly, each second a countdown to noon. Jack's heart raced with every passing moment. A rush of anxiety surged through him. The potential for both healing and heartache loomed. Tomorrow, he would speak with his sister. And the weight of that conversation felt monumental. Would she accept him back? Would they be able to navigate this together, or would it all come crashing down, leaving him utterly lost? The thoughts swirled, but one question dominated: was he truly ready to unearth the pain of the past for a chance at hope? The morning light crept through the curtains, casting soft shadows across the room. Jack sat on the edge of his bed, heart pounding like a war drum. He could feel the impending conversation rattling inside him, and the uncertainty felt like a weight he had to carry. He glanced at the clock again. Time seemed to stand still, stretching every second into an eternity. He stood up, pacing the small space. What should he wear? Something casual, but not too casual. He settled on a simple sweater, hoping it would reflect a warmth he didn't quite feel inside. He wiped his palms on his jeans, trying to ease the sweat that had begun to bead on his forehead. As he moved, thoughts of Emma flitted through his mind. He could see her smile, the way her eyes lit up when she laughed. The image brought a brief flicker of hope. The doorbell ringing yanked him from his thoughts. It was noon. His stomach twisted in knots. This was it. He took a moment to breathe, steadying himself before he opened the door. Samantha stood there, uncertainty painted across her face. The last time they had seen each other was years ago, and that memory still stung like a fresh wound. Jack could see she was older, the lines of worry etched around her eyes deeper than he remembered. She held a small pot of flowers, a gesture he couldn't decipher. "Hey," she said softly, her voice hesitant. "Hey," he replied, unsure of where to go from there. Samantha stepped into the house, the silence between them thick and palpable. Jack led her to the small living room where they had spent countless family gatherings years ago. Still, it felt strange now, like stepping into a ghostly echo of what used to be. I brought these for Emma," she said, gesturing with the pot. "I remember how much she loved flowers." A tight smile broke across Jack's face, but it didn't quite reach his eyes. "Thanks. She'll love them." They both sat, the air heavy with unspoken words. Jack could feel the tension buzzing just beneath the surface, a current ready to snap. He took a deep breath, recognizing that this awkwardness was a part of their journey. "So, how have you been?" he asked, his voice coming out more brittle than he intended. Samantha hesitated, her brows knitting together in contemplation. "I've been okay. Work has kept me busy. How about you?" Jack was about to answer when the laughter of a child rang out from the backyard, pulling their focus. Emma had just emerged from her playroom, her latest art project splattered across her hands and face. "Mommy," she yelled as she spotted Jack. Her pure joy broke through the tension in the room like a ray of sunshine piercing through clouds. Jack's heart swelled at the sight, but Sam's expression shifted. He caught a glimpse of her internal struggle. The worry in her eyes plucked at Jack's heart like fragile strings. He wondered what thoughts raced through her mind about the little girl she hadn't seen in so long. "Hey, Pumpkin," he called, trying to keep his voice light while the weight of their reality loomed behind him. As Emma rushed into the room, Jack felt the walls of the past slipping away, slipping into a hopeful space. But how could he navigate this fragile dance between his sister and daughter? The atmosphere shifted as Emma climbed onto his lap, grinning up at him. "Look what I made," she declared, proudly showing off her watercolor creation, the colors vibrant and joyful, despite the clouds surrounding her world. Samantha smiled, but it was bittersweet. "She's talented, Jack," she said slowly. "She really is." Jack's heart pounded again, this time with a mix of pride and pain. He felt Samantha's gaze on him, not just as a brother, but as a potential ally in this new strange battle for their family. When the silence hung heavily, each of them searching for the right words, Jack knew they really faced a choice: would they navigate the storm of their emotions together, or spiral further apart? And just as he opened his mouth to take the leap, his phone buzzed with a message, an unexpected distraction that sent another ripple through the moment. What did it say? Who was it from? Jack's heart raced as he glanced at the screen, suddenly uncertain of who they could really count on in this fragile family web. Jack's eyes darted across the screen, the message blurring for a moment as confusion washed over him. It was from an unknown number. Just as he was about to dismiss it, the preview caught his attention. "We need to talk about Emma." A chill ran down his spine. The unpredictability of the situation with Samantha was one thing, but now this? He could feel the weight of the phone in his hand, a heavy portent as if it contained the very essence of his uncertainty. Emma, cradled in his arms, felt the shift in his energy. She glanced up, her innocent eyes wide, sensing the tension. "Daddy, who's texting?" Jack hesitated, grappling with the urge to shield her from whatever storm loomed ahead. "Just a friend," he replied softly, forcing a smile that felt more like a mask. Emma's brow furrowed, the concern already furrowing her little features. "Okay," she said, clearly not convinced but trusting nonetheless. Samantha's gaze lingered on Jack, her curiosity evident. She could sense the sudden change in atmosphere. A brick could have dropped and shattered the silence. "Everything all right?" she asked, the familial connection still faint and raw. Jack swallowed hard, trying to push his unease aside. "It's nothing. Just a text." But as he said it, the knot in his stomach tightened. Emma, like the fearless child she was, wriggled from his lap and leaned against the coffee table, curiosity piqued. "Can I see?" she asked, her little fingers reaching for the phone with an eagerness that almost made Jack chuckle, if not for the gravity that weighed down on him. "No, sweetie, it's not for you," he said, a hint of panic detectable in his voice. "Why not?" Her disappointment stung, and again Jack felt the twinge of guilt. "Because sometimes adults need to talk about grown-up things," he added, trying to sound reassuring, but he could see that his words fell flat, barely piercing the air between them. A moment of silence enveloped them, leaving Jack to wonder how he could navigate the storm that lay ahead. How could he balance the delicate threads connecting him, Samantha, and Emma? Samantha's voice broke the silence again, quieter this time. Is it about me? About us? Jack's heart sank at the implication of her words. No, it's just a message. I'll check it later, he said, but even as he spoke, doubt slithered about in his mind. He glanced down at the phone again, hesitating to open the message. What could it mean? Before he could decide, Emma bounced back onto his lap, holding up a colorful drawing for him to inspect. Look at my unicorn. Isn't it pretty? Jack blinked, momentarily pulled from the pit of confusion. Emma's face glowed with pride, and despite the chaos brewing around them, he felt his heart swell. It's amazing, Pumpkin. He marveled over her interpretation of the magical creature, colorful and bright. She should be painted that way. Samantha interjected, a hint of nostalgia in her tone. Jack noticed the softness that washed over her face as she spoke about Emma's art, the laughter that rested just at the edges of her lips, the warmth in her gaze illuminating the gloomy surroundings. Maybe we can all paint together, Jack suggested, feeling a flicker of hope. Make a fun day out of it. Yes. I want to do that. Emma exclaimed, her enthusiasm rekindling some light. Samantha nodded slowly, hope threading through her expression. Jack felt the tension ease just a little, but still, the weight of the unsent message echoed in the background, threatening to shatter the moment. When Jack finally glanced back at his phone, apprehension gripped him. Should he open it now? He could almost feel the gravity of every potential outcome. As he took a breath and opened the message, he felt the air thicken around them. Whatever lay on the other side of that screen might alter everything. What was waiting for him with those words? Would it pull them closer or stretch the fabric of their fragile connection into shreds? All he knew was that he braced himself for whatever came next, the pulse of uncertainty drumming louder within him. Jack steadied himself, emotions swirling as he felt his heart tip over into his throat. The message loomed on his phone, an inscrutable gate between hope and despair. With trembling fingers, he opened it. Jack. We need to talk about Emma. I have information that may change everything. His breath caught. What information? He murmured, half to himself and half to Emma and Samantha, who remained blissfully unaware. His instinct screamed at him to put the phone down, to focus on his daughter's laughter, her vibrant drawings just a few feet away. Yet the urgency of the message drew him like a moth to flame. What could possibly be so crucial? The sound of her giggles faded into white noise as he read the message again, the words now etched into his consciousness. All around him felt fragile, a thin glass wall holding back tides of secrets. Jack. Samantha's soft voice broke through his haze. Is everything all right? He looked up, grappling with the weight of hidden truths. It struck him that they had spent far too long dancing around each other, too locked in their pain to truly address the core of what needed to be healed. It's complicated, he said, uncertainty clinging to his voice. How about we paint first, then I'll explain. Okay. Emma shouted, her energy cutting through the tension. And just like that, they shifted gears. Jack placed the phone face down, determined to focus on the present moment. Time felt like it might stretch and bend, but he wouldn't let it. They headed to the kitchen where the sun streamed in, illuminating the mess that would soon become their art project. As they set up paints and brushes, laughter spilled from Emma, mixing colors as Amanda joined in, bringing a cautious excitement. Jack felt a swell of warmth as he watched their bonding, a narrative weaving between them, one that felt at once foreign yet nestled deep within his heart. What's your unicorn's name? Samantha asked, grinning as Emma carefully dipped her brush into pink paint. Princess Sparkle. Emma beamed, her face washing in pure delight. Very fitting. Jack chuckled, feeling a lightness in the room, with colors splattered across paper, the kitchen transformed into a vivid canvas of childish imagination. Jack momentarily lost himself, worries and past pains melted away under the weight of laughter and love. Their world shrunk into this warm bubble, the message on his phone felt distant, almost invisible. But just as he settled into this fleeting joy, a quiet tension stirred in the pit of his stomach. The message was still there. As they painted, Samantha caught him glancing at the phone, and her expression shifted back to concern. "What's happening, Jack?" "It's a message about Emma. I'm worried I might be losing her," he confessed, the honesty spilling from him like paint from a tipped-over jar. "Losing her?" Samantha echoed, eyes wide. "What do you mean?" "I don't know, I just feel torn," he admitted, the words tasting bitter. "I thought I had it all figured out. But maybe I've failed her." "None of us have all the answers," she replied softly, her voice soothing and steady. "But you are here now. That's what matters." Perspective hit him like a lightning bolt. Here they were, yes, all three of them together, the path unsteady but filled with the possibility of healing. Gathering the courage, he swallowed hard and said, "I need to reply to that message. But I want to do it right. This is about Emma. It's about all of us." Samantha nodded solemnly, acknowledging the weight he bore. "Then let us do it together. Whatever information comes next, we face it as a family." "Okay," Jack said, a deep breath filling his lungs. He grabbed his phone and scrolled back up to the message. It was time to unmask the truth. His heart raced as he typed back, "What do you know?" His finger hovered over the send button, an anchor to foundation shifting beneath him. It wasn't just information, it was hope, fuel, fear. With a final shudder of uncertainty shooting through him, he pressed send and looked up at Samantha and Emma. In that moment, clarity lit up his veins. He might not know what the future held, but he did know this: family is strengthened in the fire of honesty, laughter, and the courage to face the unknown. For the first time in a long while, the messy chaos of the world felt less suffocating. Suddenly, the phone buzzed again, and he felt his heart leap into his throat. "Jack, Emma may qualify for a treatment trial. It may help her, but we need to meet to discuss the details." Jack scanned the room, his eyes wide, filled with light. "Emma!" he exclaimed, looking towards his daughter. "There might be a way to help you." Emma's eyes sparkled with hope, oblivious to the troubles swirling around their heads. "Really?" "Yes. We're going to find a way, together," Jack promised, wrapping his arms around his daughter and Samantha, a wave of gratitude flooding his heart. "You both mean everything to me." In that moment, he felt the fragile strands of their lives intertwine, a tapestry slowly knitting together from threads of hope, love, and determination. It wouldn't be easy, but they had a real chance to redefine their family and confront the challenges ahead together. They returned to their painting, confidence settling in. Jack knew this would be just the beginning, the treasures of vulnerability waiting on the horizon. And whatever clouds still lingered would be met with the fierce love he now wore like armor that he finally let go of the past. He had a future to create, memories to build, and most importantly, he had his family by his side. Now, if you felt the power of this story and want to share in these transforming moments, you need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support. Hit that like button now to feed the algorithm and highlight stories like this. Don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to feel this transformation. Your voice matters, so comment your reactions and feelings about how Jack faced his fears. Let us keep this journey going.